I never dropped this music. I was like, oh, maybe I'll cut the song shorter if I can. And it's like, maybe I'll just release it like over the winter or something. If we can't have like an AI make our artwork, like the guy and one of the guys in This Is a Train Wreck can. I was seeing him draw somebody's logo today, dude. Oh yeah, I should probably get off the mic too. But yeah, he's the voice of fucking Optimus Prime, Megatron.
Showtime!
It's time again. CFM Radio.
It is once again showtime, and we are back on another Wednesday with video game music and news.
The best video game music and news. This side of wherever you get your news. And Drix, I gotta tell you, I've been playing a lot of F-Zero, been playing a lot of Starfield. I have been feeling in a very sci-fi mood lately.
Yeah, it's very much in the future, well into the now current generation of gaming. You know, the fall is in full swing, gearing up for whatever holiday purchases anybody else is going to make out there in game land. Yeah, we've had a lot of meaty games.
We definitely have a stacked release schedule ahead of us. We're going to talk about some new releases this week, but we know a couple of them coming up about a couple weeks now. October 20th is a double whammy of Mario Wonder and freaking Spider-Man 2. Like, we're hot off the heels of Mortal Kombat 1.
Yep.
You know,
fighting in the streets again.
Hey, fighting game fans, eating good. Horror fans, eating good. Gaming in general is just awesome. If you love RPGs, oh my god, RPGs came back with a vengeance this year, Drix.
Oh yeah, turn-based or action, doesn't matter how you cut it. There's something going on for everybody.
Now, we're gonna get into our first news story here, but we have a little bit of breaking news. From CNN, Jim Ryan announced it, PlayStation boss, announcing he's stepping down.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
Jim Ryan, he's going to retire after 28 years with Sony. This just broke about an hour ago.
Hot stuff.
Yeah, pretty hot stuff. But, you know, Drix, the guy's been there almost 30 years.
Yeah, that's about long enough to work anywhere, really.
It's pretty stellar career, if I say so myself.
Yeah. Wow, that's just about as long as I've been gaming.
Yeah, you know, he was pretty much there from, this article says, since 1994, and he was appointed CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment in our Sony Interactive Entertainment in 2019. So this guy has had his hands in pretty much everything PlayStation since the beginning.
Wow. Yeah. Several console generations under his belt. Well, good for him. And maybe if we stay tuned, we might see some changes that gamers could feel in the art form and craft and the scene.
Yeah, you never know. You don't really understand the impact a personality or a mind has on their niche, their business niche, until pretty much far flung, right? Like you've got to give it a few years, probably like 5-10 years, until you really start seeing like a true shift.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's going to be a bit of a threshold to hit as we cross over into what could be, the next generation, whatever fills the hole that this creates.
Yep, and I feel like it's going to be an interesting new era for PlayStation. The PlayStation 5 is essentially going to be the remainder of his legacy.
Yeah.
And the PlayStation 6 or whatever PlayStation after that is probably going to be the beginning of the next, whoever his successor's legacy. So, he probably has a successor. He probably trained a successor for this a long time ago. These things don't just happen, like.
Yeah, news to us, but within the company, yeah, there's definitely been some transition effort made.
Absolutely, it's kind of interesting to see. It's an interesting time we see ourselves in as gamers, seeing these very, very big shifts in the landscape of gaming. You know, it is interesting to think about. This guy, Jim Ryan, was just in court about a month and a half ago with the whole FTC Xbox deal. And he was saying a lot about how Gamepass and comparing PlayStation and Microsoft's strategies. So it's interesting to see him walk away after this, and it's interesting to see this come out after the Xbox leaks.
Yeah, from that case and that trial.
Yeah.
So another thing we're still seeing ripples from much later.
Yeah, you know, again, interesting time to be a gamer, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about Xbox and Game Pass, and the view that we share. You know, the view that we share may just vindicate old Jim Ryan in his views and his statements on Xbox and Game Pass and its effects on the industry. But Drix, let's jump right into the music. What are we starting tonight off with?
Man, speaking of how far back PlayStation 1 goes, this is an imported game called Planet Daub with a really killer soundtrack, but this is the background music for Daub Town.
Daub Town, BGM, CFM Radio. We got the imports. We are live. CFM Radio, we are back. And we're going to jump right into this next news story.
Yeah, that song was called High, the high game version, by an artist called Nitsa Melas. It was on the Guitar Freaks and Drum Mania collection.
Ooh, hey, some of my favorite arcade games. Guitar Freaks, Drum Mania, amazing games. Especially, Drix, if you can get everybody, if the arcade you go to has the cabinets linked together and you could get the whole band playing.
Yeah, before Guitar Hero, there was Konami serving music games, rhythm games up to you in the arcade.
Beat Mania, Guitar Freaks, Dance Dance Revolution, all the greats.
Mm-hmm. Long line of Bimani rhythm games and a lot of good music to pay tribute to.
Absolutely. But, you know, we love talking old school, but we got to bring it to the now. And we talk a lot about cloud and on-demand gaming here on the show. But last month, we heard reports of services such as Gamepass hitting a plateau in the U.S. market. Different outlets came out and shared analytics that said, you know, spending had hit a $400 million mark, and that was pretty much the cap for the USA market. Now, it seems like Devolver Digital may be the first indie game publisher to turn away from launch day access to their games on services such as these.
Yeah. Similar to what goes on in movies too, like how long do you want it to take to hit streaming platforms after a premiere, you know, and what's going to happen with your work once it gets out there into streaming hands.
Anyone can do what they will with it. You know, see it for what it is, see it for what it's not, appropriate it. And you know, from Push Square, the headline is, quote, indie firm Devolver Digital rejected PS Plus, Xbox Game Pass deals over, quote, undervalued games. From the article, building on reports of subscription fatigue where consumer spending is concerned, Devolver Digital claims it has turned down multiple proposals from platform holders as the offers, quote, undervalued titles, value, and revenue opportunities in 2023 and 2024. Further reading also reveals that another connection from a chat with a game analyst, Patrick O'Donnell, on gamesindustry.biz, who says, quote, the checks coming from Sony and Microsoft are just not as big as they were, and that creates problems if you're trying to if you're concentrated on that side of the market. With these sorts of reports combined with leaks that were combed through last week, the Xbox leaks, it's looking like betting on Game Pass is a way bigger risk than anyone might have thought. Drix, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, is Unity going to charge you per install of your game, you know?
Oh my God.
Or are they just going to have a free-to-play, some kind of subscription service? We're pretty big proponents of physical games and at least owning what they sell as a license to use their software is what it is. Yes. So if you can't count on something showing up, you know, I like the idea of like pretending it's like royalties or something, or like a mechanical exchange that just sort of happens for years. Once you put out a great piece of art, you know, why wouldn't you want to keep making even like a good sale price on it, but for, you know, 10, 20 years beyond, as long as it's on one of the distribution platforms like, say, Steam or Epic Games. And you know, how does cloud gaming, you know, increase the value of a game when they're saturated together under one umbrella?
Yeah, and you know, I will say, Drix, a lot of these indie games, I mean, I'm a Game Pass holder. Half of these indie games, I don't even look at them.
Yeah,
it's just the truth. And like, you know, that's just my experience. I'm talking from my experience, but honestly, we get these services to play the bigger games and from bigger name publishers, and I can understand how the perspective of Starfield or Fallout 4 or any of these games, these awesome games that you can play, any of the EA games, because EA is teamed up with Gamepass. Any of these awesome games that you could play day one on Game Pass, and then having that be like the funnel for them to experience all these other great games. So when they're done with those games, they can play these other games. But we'll talk more about this fact a little bit later in the show as well. But people normally today, they play like one game for like 200 hours.
Yeah. We're all people, we're all humans here. And there's a lot of I guess what you could call stands on the internet. People who they're really into one game, and that it makes them very happy. A lot of like esports tend to be like that too, where it's like you're just trying to get good to stay competitive and keep up with updates and things like that. There's plenty to keep us entertained out there.
Drix, people have been playing Skyrim for 20 years.
Yeah. Things like Minecraft and Roblox, like, especially if you're being social, there's even more reason just to hang out.
Oh my God, just hanging out with your friends.
And just see the same group of friends that you like to hang out with. So,
Yeah, like I said, it's a very interesting situation. Interesting place to be in. Everything is laid bare, almost. At least it looks like it, right? Everything looks like it's laid pretty bare when it comes to the informed gamer. If you want to be informed right now, man, I would wager to tell you that your next... the generation's pretty much planned out for you. Like, you've got, like, if you want to be on the cutting edge, you get a PlayStation 5, or an Xbox Series X, one of the two. You have the option of just experiencing, I guess, 2/3 of next gen, or of the current generation that we're in, with an Xbox Series S for $300. If you just want to, like, play something, right?
Yep.
You just want to play some Starfield. Grab yourself
your Game Pass.
Yeah, and enjoy your Game Pass. Grab yourself some a $300 box that just doesn't have a disc drive, but it connects to the internet and plays everything. There's you have a Switch. Grab a Switch if you want a nice all-arounder. Switch, honestly, is your indie game machine, right? Like, that's the thing that has every indie game on it. Every indie game wants to be on the Switch. So, like, that's a great portable console. The hybrid ability with it, a new one is coming out. Everybody says what Microsoft was briefed. They say in their leak it was briefed on it. At end of the year? You know what I mean? Like,
next generation of Switch comes right around the corner. Right
around the corner, and if you want to be on the cutting edge, you probably already have one of these badass consoles or a great PC. PC seems to be the way to go if you just want the variety. You hear a lot of different performance bugs with a lot of these games on PC, but the big name games, Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield seems to run well on PC. Like, you could play what you're probably going to end up watching at the Game Awards.
Yeah, exactly.
You only really need to worry about FOMO if you really want to play a PlayStation exclusive game, which there are a few. You got Final Fantasy 16, fantastic game. We're gonna have Spider-Man 2 later on in the year. You're gonna need a PlayStation for that. Like, but other than that, you're not missing a whole lot. You're not missing a whole lot.
Grand scope of things.
Yeah, especially if you got a decent PC.
Especially if you have one of those in your house.
Yeah, And, speaking of other smaller name publishers, Nexon and Remnant 2. Remnant 2, it took us all by surprise. It released universal praise back in July. You know, the Souls-like shooter, the follow-up to Remnant from Ashes. Very, very cool take on the genre. But we got xputer.com sitting down with the principal environmental artist at the developer Gunfire Games, Sean Bromstedt the second, to chat about the title with the headline Remnant 2 interview, DLC plans, inspirations, and more. And in the interview, Bromstedt talks about the dynamic nature of the environments, the aesthetic and the atmosphere of the game. He gives sparse information about the 3 upcoming DLCs and how but he does like going into about how each mechanic was tested against the whole of the game to focus on the experience, to focus on giving you the best experience. You know, in this interview, he goes on to detail about even there are times when even he's running around the world that he's the lead on the world, designing the world and the environments, and he thinks he knows every nook and cranny, and there are things that he turns a corner, finds a treasure, still surprises him.
Yeah, that's the kind of quality you want from enjoying your own work.
Yeah, man. And with 3 upcoming DLCs, if you got Remnant 2, looks like you got a lot to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. A whole lot of game coming your way still.
Yeah, especially with the truly procedurally generated nature of the game. Like, Remnant 2 is going to be one of those games that I pick up around the holidays. But, like, from what I understand, even the story is procedurally generated. Like, all the beats can happen at different moments for different playthroughs, different people.
Wow.
So.
Oh, yeah. It takes a lot of work and quality control to.
Yeah, man.
Almost machine learn a system like that,
especially with the co-op nature.
Yeah,
of
that's
the
incredible.
Game. It's pretty full.
Looks like we've still got some holiday game purchases to make towards the end of the year.
Oh yeah, especially with all the new ones coming up, and we're going to talk a lot about new game releases coming up right now. But before we do, Drakes, what are we jamming on?
Speaking of Switch games, we got Octopath Traveler.
Ooh.
This is the battle theme, the first of a few.
We love the battle themes of RPGs here on CFM Radio. This is Octopath Traveler. You're listening live.
cash and cars, but somewhere lost my past. It's hard now the combo gym, getting back my art. With the fury inside, you can't match my spark. Pull up your guard for a shot in your chest. I got the instinct to do it in this battle with death. This is my time to rise, you can't rattle my steps. I'm gonna win and it don't matter who challenge me next. It feels good without the implants in me. Here to show the world that my skills want to skin deep. Charging the wind speed, moving in the frenzy. Show them the channel, leave them something to envy. I said divine in the sweet science. Ready to rumble in the jungle on these sweet lions. Yeah, I'm a legend, a street giant. They give the last 3 rounds against me. Fool, keep trying. But I'm more prepared on my redemption road. I rip my foes when I trip and flip modes. You can't slip my blows. I'm on a comeback. It took out all the enhancements. Stand with the glow. I'm the champ that the fans hit. Hard, rugged, star-studded and mighty, and leaving you all bloody and making your face look like a jab. Hook, uppercut, for my blow and it impacts up your gut. You wanna try to beat the champ? You ain't tough enough. Stick and move, do your best, and I count the punch. Man, I make good precision, aim hitting for your brain. Cause I train with the wisdom, gain vision through the pain. I will bang through the system, save vicious in the game, and I'm back forever. You can't stop my reign.
We are back.
Yeah, a little bit of Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, song called Precious Thing there. And if you play games, you probably know this song.
Oh yeah, I think everybody who plays video games has, or is even video game adjacent, knows this little jingle.
Even if you just spend too much time on YouTube,
Yeah.
you've probably heard it.
Yeah, listen to any sort of video essay. Like, you probably know this one. We love Bob on Battlefield, but we've also got new releases this week. For those of you not digging into Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. The first up is Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai. From the Steam page, the memories of the hero in your hands. Experience the story of the legendary anime series Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai, in an exhilarating action role-playing game that combines stunning visuals with art from the anime and manga. This one is hitting all platforms tomorrow, Thursday, September 28th. Drix, this looks pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Dragon Quest pretty much always delivers when it comes to just something gamey and meaty to chew your teeth on. And yeah, if you're a fan of the anime, you're definitely going to want to check this out.
Especially if you've never seen anything like it before, right? Like, if you've never seen the Adventure of Dai anime or you never read the manga, like, it's really, really cool. And this is probably going to be one of those really good ways to experience it if you've never experienced it before. You get to play it and see the original source material. Great stuff.
Yeah, probably as good to enjoy together or separate.
Yeah, probably. And then releasing the same day is a unique little title in Wildmender. From the Steam page, a desert gardening survival game. Start from a tiny spring and cultivate a blooming garden. Explore a vast world amid the sands and uncover its mysteries. Can you defend against the relentless forces of nature and mysterious wraith corruption to bring life to a dying world? This game sounds unique in that it offers 4-player co-op in a procedurally generated world with a focus on bringing greenery back to the world. And it definitely one of those games that sounds like pretty chill if you just want to hang out with your friends, you know.
Yeah, and really nice to look at. I mean, looking at some of the visuals, it's very, very canvas-like, and you can see how the color palette kind of changes as you bring life to what was once barren.
Yeah, it really pops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, give you a cozy game, something to be proud of by the time you put any time into it.
Yeah, and you and your friends can get in on it too, you know? You and your buddies can get in on all the gardening action. Between this game and Fae Farm, you know, you got a lot of cozy games to chew on.
Yes.
But, you know, finally, and arguably the biggest release this week is EA Sports FC 24. It releases this Friday, September 29th. This is the first title in the franchise that is supposed to be replacing FIFA in the EA Sports catalog. And it's coming out with a hot feature it calls Hypermotion V. From the web
Hypermotion V.
Hypermotion V. Very anime, right?
Yep. Gotta say it cool.
Right? You gotta like Gigantor. From the website. Driving the biggest leap forward in gameplay authenticity and realism to date, Hypermotion V translates the rhythm and fluidity of real-world football into the world's game using volumetric data of more than 180 top-tier matches from competitions like the UEFA Men's and Women's Champions League, Premier League, and La Liga, EA Sports. This means that the movement in EA Sports FC 24 comes from teams like Real Madrid, PSG, and Manchester City, and that animations of hundreds of in-game players are influenced by actions of real-world professionals on the pitch. Advanced 11 versus 11 match capture and machine learning combine to bring Hypermotion V to life. And the site then goes on to detail that it is that the feature is exclusive to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC, as well as the use of its machine learning AI that gives you that true football soccer experience. Drix, that sounds like a pretty cool thing if you're really, really into the scene. Like if you're into soccer, football, and you want to get in, like feel like you're watching like a game, but like playing it. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like there was a lot of game footage that they could feed into some machine learning system and just come up with something super cool and different and unique to capture those motions you'd see on the soccer field in any game,
right,
at that level.
Yeah, to try to make it seem like the guys are actually going for the ball, like they're actually trying to move their feet in a convincing way. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. When you look at it, you see some footage on YouTube. Check out some of the trailers for it. Looks pretty cool. I think if you're into that, I haven't played a FIFA since, thank God, FIFA 18. I think on the PS3 was the last FIFA I actually sat down and played. But
yeah,
like,
probably same.
Yeah, but like, if you're really into that, especially if you have a favorite player, if you follow one of these teams, you can
probably tell the difference between players and like how they move and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
That's what I'm getting.
That's what I mean. Hey, you know what? Seems like a great experience to be get in on. You get EA Sports FC releases tomorrow or Friday, September 29th. Biggest release of the week. Check it out, because I gotta tell you, everybody, October is looking stacked.
Yep. Once again, get those games out before the holidays.
Yep. Get them in. Get your game time in. Especially these smaller bite-sized titles. Your Armored Cores, your FIFAs, right? Get your all the indie games. Wild Mender. You know what I mean? Get these games in. Dragon Quest, Adventure of Die,
your Mortal Kombat,
Yeah, get some ranked in on Mortal Kombat. You might not get all the time in the world to play it coming into the holidays here, because they're coming in strong.
Yeah, unless you got a big break plan.
True, but you know what, Drix? We're gonna talk even more game dev insights with Todd Howard and Starfield. But first, we gotta jam out. What are we listening to?
We got a track from Ridge Racers 2. The song's called Night Stream.
Night Stream, Ridge Racer 2, CFM Radio. CFM Radio.
Man, I sure do like that vocal Sakura theme.
Right? Not a lot of people know that that's the Sakura theme that's been used in almost every Street Fighter. Not a lot of people realize there's a vocal version.
You know, it's as good, if not better, than, you know, any Ken or Ryu.
Yeah, they don't got vocals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think any of them do.
No.
But Sakura,
Somebody
she
wrote
got you
the
covered.
lyrics. Yeah. Girl anthem.
And you know who else has it covered? Todd Howard.
Yeah, I'm really liking what we've just seen from Todd Howard.
You know, Todd Howard, the Todd Howard Academy, his Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences YouTube interview, it's really something special. Ted Price of Insomniac Game Studios, yes, that the competing PlayStation studio, hosts an excellent interview that goes into much more than just Starfield with old Todd Howard. It's like way more than a behind-the-scenes Starfield feature. They talk inspiration from older games going back as far as the Apple II and even canned projects that were in Bethesda. They talk what it's like to develop games in the shadow of a corporate acquisition and Todd Howard's most important rules for game development. This interview, however, is incredible and totally worth your time to watch the whole thing. I loved it, Drix. Like, I know the big meme coming out of this interview is, haha, you know, you got to make space fighting AI dumb so player can shoot enemy good. But like, man, there's so much in this interview.
Yeah, the real human side to these bits of code and software that we all like to purchase and enjoy, because these are a couple of monsters in their field, and they're just, you know, I've never been so hooked to a couple of guys having just a casual conversation about their work and the kind of things that go into these big projects that they got to manage.
Yeah, you know, it was awesome, you know, hearing Todd talk about all the different ways that he tries to give the player control. You know, he tries to balance the way he tries to balance his game versus the game feel and what you, the player, are going to feel empowered by versus what might end up being a hindrance to you, and not to you specifically or to the game itself, but to your enjoyment of it. And like, very, very focused on you, the player, and giving you the tools to create whatever you want in this space, you know. And all of his design philosophies, like his philosophy on what a RPG is, blew my mind. Like, you know, what it's not just, he doesn't just use RPG as an excuse, you know what I mean? And he even touches on it. It's like, oh, you know, well, it's an RPG, it's gonna have that. Like, no, what role does the action that your character is about to do fill in the world that you're playing in? You know what I mean? Like, very, very big picture, but
yeah. Think of any, you know, Elder Scrolls quest.
Yeah.
You'll find some repercussions and things like that. Interesting, he actually starts with like atmospheric elements of like the setting and stuff too. He likes to hear like music and think about like the heads-up display and sort of how he's immediately from the ground up thinking about like how players are going to interact with this, and how that's changed over the years to where, you know, people will interact with a game like Skyrim for decades.
Yes.
And it'll evolve and change.
Very interesting.
Not from the cartridge era anymore.
Not at all. It was very, very interesting to hear him talk about how the big differences between how gamers consume and play games today versus back even during like the Oblivion days. You know, you thought people be playing Oblivion forever, right? You thought people were playing games like Morrowind forever. It's apparently, according to Todd Howard, it's nothing compared to how people play games today.
Yeah. And it's cool, of course, to see like they took off their work hat almost a little bit. And they're like, they mentioned it for a second, like, I don't know, should we even be talking? Like, aren't we kind of like competing in the market or whatever? But like, he even gave like a tip of the hat to the, new Zelda game for doing something that he enjoys, which is, giving the player the decision to like build and, enough tools to explore and also be entertained, while still keeping it fresh or something that the player created and influencing the world and the environment in the game.
The point they touched on where they were talking about they were talking about game length and about how that's a contentious idea in the industry right now. Are games too long? That is a question that is being asked. And where does it start and where does it end? And it's interesting to hear Todd Howard's perspectives on it, because it's like, who it might be driven by gamers or the media or pundits, talking heads, right? But ultimately, it begins with the game dev and the technology that they have access to. What things they want to push, where they want their artistic vision to go. You know what I mean? And if it ends up being a 300-hour, 5 years in development experience, then that's where it ends up. Essentially, that's kind of how that's at least kind of the idea that I got from it, from the discussion, because the way that these two guys were spitballing ideas back and forth and pretty much inspiring one another was it was very profound, and you could tell. That's why I say, if you have the time, you got to watch. I encourage anybody to watch the whole thing, because it's a very, 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 these guys, like you said, Drix, are monsters in the industry, and they have so much vision.
Yeah, it's pretty creative, actually.
Very, very creative, especially with how progressive they are and how grounded their ideas are as they think about how people are going to consume the media that they create.
Yeah, exactly.
And you would never, you listen to this interview and you would never think these guys, their ideas are so like down to earth and stuff like that, because you play the game and it fucking blows your mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the length and breadth of the worlds that they've created, and just the amount of time you can give exploring them to their fullest and really taking in and tasting everything. It's a lot of work, a lot of people, big team to manage, a lot goes into it, and yeah, you're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth, how it happens, something to access on YouTube if you have the time.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, the Todd Howard interview. There was it's the second one. This is the Starfield interview. I believe he had another one on Skyrim. So if you have the time, it's a little bit lengthy. It's about an hour, but check it out. It's definitely worth the time. But Drix, I hear a classic in the background.
Oh, we're coming out of Epona's song from the Nintendo 64, Ocarina of Time. But up next, we're going to get a Dreamcast banger going from another import called Vativa for the Sega Saturn. Action car battle game.
Vativa, Sega Saturn, import, CFM Radio. We are live. All right, Drix.
Well, Vector, once again, been another edition episode of CFM Radio.
CFM Radio. We are live. Make sure you check out our Twitch. This Tuesday, we are going to take on the Grand Masters in Pokemon TCG for Game Boy. It may very well be the final part. You, keep your eyes peeled for the Part 3 Supercut, the Day 3 Supercut. It will be coming out before the end of the week. The Day 4 Supercut will follow soon after. But that Day 4 archive can be seen right now on our Twitch. Twitch.com/CFM on Twitch. Make sure you follow us there. The Day 3 archive can be found right here on YouTube. You'll check it out. It's right there in the videos. And again, every week, Wednesdays, CFM Radio.
Video game music and news from us to use.
And I think it's time to say that's a wrap, everyone. We all hope that you've been having a great night. And I think it's time for us to get out of here. Drix, until next time.
Till next time, good buddy.
And thank you all for listening. See you next week.